Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. So first of all, I would like to thank the organizers of this beautiful conference for the kind invitation. I think this is the first time that the OIV attends this conference, and I'm very happy to be here today, not only because I'm a sparkling wine lover, but also because I missed physical meetings, and so it means that we are kind of close to kind of normality again. So I am Giorgio Del Grosso. I'm Italian. I joined the OIV in 2017. I work in France. And today I prepared a presentation to give you a kind of global overview of the recent evolution and the geographical distribution of production and consumption of wine, with a special focus on sparkling wine. So this is how I structured the presentation. So I will briefly give you a short description of the OIV for those who don't know what it is. Then I will give a brief overview of the state of the world wine sector in 2021. That will give a bit of a context to the third main section, that is the evolution of the global sparkling wine market over the last 20 years. So it is a pretty long presentation full of numbers and graphs, but don't worry, I'll try to make it short and sweet, so hopefully you won't fall asleep. So the OIV is an intergovernmental organization of technical and scientific nature. The main objective is to harmonize the standards and practices related to the production, consumption, and trade of wine and other wine-based products. We can count on a network of about 1,000 experts that compose the different delegations of our 48 member states, Hungary being one of them. Apart from its normative function, the OIV carries out a number of other activities. For example, I am the head of the statistics department, which handles a pretty large database and produces several reports all along the year to keep informed policymakers and other relevant stakeholders of the sector. So, as I said before, we will start with the big picture on the overall wine sector, so all types of wines included, and this will help you better appreciate the incredible figures behind the boom of sparkling wine. You will see how the long-term trends differ quite significantly, but I don't want to make spoilers. So let's get started. So here we have the evolution of the surface area at world level. As you can see, up to last year, we had a surface area of 7.3 million hectares all around the world. As you can see, there has been a downward trend in the last, starting at the beginning of the century, and now we reached a kind of stabilization starting from 2017, thanks to the slowdown of the growth of the Chinese vineyard, and also thanks to the new planting authorization system in the European Union. Here we see the geographical distribution of the global vineyard. As you can see, the top 6 wine-growing countries represent 56% of the world vineyard. The largest vineyard in the world is Spain, which represents 13% of the global vineyard, followed by France and China. Should be noted that in China it is mostly table grapes. Now, moving to wine production. Last year, we recorded 260 million hectoliters, which can be defined as a slightly below average production. And this is the result of 2 contrasting trends. So on one side, we had a sharp fall in some major European Union countries, notably France and Spain. But on the other side, we had a record high harvest in all major Southern European countries. Here you can see the distribution of wine production. So the top 3 countries that are Italy, France, and Spain account for almost half of the world wine production. And the top 8 wine-producing countries account for about 3/4 of the total wine production. Moving to the demand side, so we have here the evolution of wine consumption over the last 20 years. Last year we recorded at 236 million hectoliters, which is plus 1% over the previous catastrophic year of 2020. So this kind of positive result is due, of course, to the uplifting of COVID-19 related restrictions that contributed to an increase in consumption in basically all countries in the world, with few exceptions. So the first market in the world, as I'm sure you know, is the US, followed by France, Italy, Germany, and UK, which together account for half of the world consumption. We now move to international trade, so import-export. So after the catastrophic year of 2020 that saw significant trade disruptions, 2021 was an excellent year, both in terms of volume, we reached more than 111 million hectoliters, and in terms of value, where we had the record high of all times, that is 34.4 billion euros. Now, these are the top exporters in volume in the top graph and in value in the lower part of the slide. As you can see, Spain and Italy are by far the leaders when it comes to volumes, while France has no rivals with its 11.1 billion euros recorded last year. Similarly, here we have the main wine importers. So here we have three countries that are by far the leaders, both in terms of volume and value, which are Germany, US, and UK. Now, let's move to the most interesting and probably relevant part of the presentation, that is an overview of the global sparkling wine market. So the OAV every year carries out a study on a topic that we usually do not have time to cover in depth. And given the success of the sparkling wine edition in 2019, we decided to update it this year. So what follows is a selection of the main findings of this study that is based on data from 85 countries. So just to clarify, here we included all sparkling wines made with traditional method and with closed tank fermentation. So we did not take into account all sparkling wines with the exogenous CO2. So let's move to production. So in 2021, the world sparkling wine production was about 21 million hectoliters, with an overall increase of plus 66% in the last 20 years. So this growth is not only in absolute terms, but also in relative terms. So as you can see in the lower right part of the slide, sparkling wine used to represent 5% of the total offer of wine at world level. Nowadays, we are about 7 to 8%. As you can see from the pie chart, the sparkling wine production is highly concentrated, with 5 countries alone accounting for 80% of the world sparkling wine production, and 2 countries, Italy and France, producing basically more than half of the global sparkling wines. So in 2021, we counted 32 countries producing sparkling wine worldwide. The largest producer in volume is Italy, by far, with 6.8 million hectoliters, followed by France, Germany, Spain, and US. The largest increases over the last 10 years among these top producers were recorded in Italy, which registered on average plus 9% per year. Followed by US, plus 4% per year, and Spain, plus 2% per year. Now, when it comes to consumption, we have a very similar graph. So in 2021, we had 19.5 million hectoliters of sparkling wine consumed worldwide, which represents about 8% of the total wine consumed. In 2021, 7 countries, as you can see from the pie chart, represent 73% of the global market. Now, as you can see, the first market in the world is Germany, with 3.2 million hectoliters consumed in 2021, followed by US, France, Italy, Russia, UK, and Australia. These 7 countries, as I said, account for 73% of all sparkling wines. And among these top markets, USA, Italy, UK, and Australia are the ones that performed better in the last 10 to 15 years, with growth rates, annual growth rates between 5 and 6%. What is also interesting to note is that in the histograms, you can see the very last histogram where it says other countries, you can see there is a very significant growth, meaning that also smaller markets are growing very fast, at a very fast pace. Now, moving to international trade of sparkling wine, we can see that since the beginning of the century, the international trade of sparkling wine has steadily increased, both in volume and in value. In 2021, the volume of wine exported was more than 10 million hectoliters, which is a plus 205% with respect to 2002, which is quite impressive. The total value of sparkling wine in 2021 was about 7.5 billion euros, which represent 20% of the total value of all wines exported, so bottled wines and bulk wines included. Now, this is a bit more of an analytical slide. So I decided to include these two graphs because it's quite interesting to see how different products react differently to crisis. So in the last 15 years, we witnessed two main crises, the economic global crisis in 2008, 2009, and the sanitary crisis last year. So in the upper graph, we see an index that replicates the evolution of the volume of exports in blue and the value of exports in dotted orange. As you can see, in crisis times, value is hit much harder than volume, meaning that high-end products are the ones who suffer the most during crisis. In the lower graph, we can see the evolution of average export prices. So we have in dark blue sparkling wines, and in the light dotted blue, the bottled still wines. Here again, we can see that the sparkling wines is hit much harder during crisis times. Should be noted anyway that in 2008, 2009, we had a massive introduction of Prosecco in the market that lowered permanently the average export prices. So, moving on. Moving on, here we have the main sparkling wine exporters. As you can see, I put basically only 3 countries because they represent 83% of the export market, that are Italy, France, and Spain. As you can see, in volume, Italy is by far the leader with 5 million hectoliters exported last year. While in terms of volumes, it is France that is leading this particular ranking with almost 4 billion euros exported last year. Here again, the growth rates are quite impressive, as you can see in the histograms. Just to give you an idea, Italy in the last 20 years grew consistently 10% per year. Here we have the main sparkling wine importers. So in 2021, the 10 countries that are shown in the slide represent 70% of the sparkling wine imports. US and UK are by far the top importers, accounting for 19% and 16% of the global import market, respectively. And in terms of value, we can see that USA is by far the first importer with more than 1.5 billion euros, followed by UK and Japan. Now, I will conclude with this last slide, that is what we call a market internationalization index. This is an index that is constructed as the ratio between world wine exports and world wine consumption. So, in yellow, we have sparkling wines. In red, we have still wines. In 2021, the sparkling wine international market internationalization index is at 55%, meaning that every 2 bottles consumed, more than 1 is imported. The same index has been computed, as I said, for still wine, which is 8 percentage points behind, which shows, once again, how globalized is the market of this beautiful product that is sparkling wine. And I conclude here my presentation. Thank you for the attention.